Welcome to Northern Powerhouses, our business success stories series of interviews where we discuss with local business leaders, their backgrounds, their successes and challenges, and what really drives them forward. And this morning, I'm delighted that we have with us Samrien Hussain, who's the director at Tock So Sam, firstly, thank you so much for coming on board this morning and being interviewed. And if you'd like to introduce yourself and Tock, it'd be great to know how you help people.
Yeah, firstly, thank you for inviting me. It's a pleasure to be here. Yeah, so Tock, it's a live, shall I say, it was a live escape game for us. We started 8 years ago as there was nothing like this in the north. So first thing we set up, and now there's so many in the UK and around the world, which is fantastic. We've recently changed our model from just a typical escape room and escape rooms, you were locked in for 60 minutes in a room and you had loads of challenges and puzzles to solve, and they were usually different themed. As time went on, for us, it was to observe and get our customer feedback and how we can change it and push those boundaries. So we've recently opened the Library of Broken Books. The Library of Broken Books is a combination of escape rooms, immersive theatre, and game shows. So rather than being stuck in a room for 60 minutes, you're actually going through multiple rooms, which we actually call our stories now. So the whole concept behind it, these stories are broken, you're going into each room to fix the stories, and rather than escaping, you are collecting magical keys which accumulate to points. So we've made the competitive element as well, so where if there's bigger groups, they can compete against each other. It's an exciting new concept. We're really excited about it. We've only opened last month. So we do have different genres, which is fantasy, magical, horror and adventure, but we've only started with our fantasy and adventure because it's our phase one, and it's going to be up to the next 2 years. We're going to build out all our other zones. So when you come to our venues, you can obviously go into the different zones. But like I said, we've just started with a fantasy and adventure, just because a lot of people are getting confused and thinking they're going through each zone, but they're not at the moment, but that will within the next 2 years happen. So we're building up to about 12, 15 rooms. A lot of people have the concern, we don't like horror, we don't want to come because we're too scared, but our horror section is going to be a completely standalone horror house, so you don't need to worry about that. So yeah, so we've opened last month and we've got a great response from it. So yeah, come out and try us. So we're based in Leeds City Centre, and we've acquired a bank vault, so it was the old TSB bank vault, so it's a quirky venue. Yeah, so it's quirky within itself, so obviously part of our horror experience is going to be in there too, but yeah, it's and it's 9,500 square footage, so big space, and lots for us to do. We're also doing immersive events like for Halloween and seasonal. So we did close for 2 years due to the pandemic, but now we're back up and running with the Library of Broken Books.
And I believe you also do corporate events.
We do, absolutely. We have we have our GPS treasure hunt, which we started off organically with just corporate companies inquiring about if they can hold up to 50 to 100 people, and so it's something we designed in-house. So you have GPS treasure hunt points around the city centre, and you go make videos, take pictures and work as a team to solve puzzles. So we can, whether you want it for an hour, whether they want it for 2 hours, we can accommodate that. So like recently we've had a group of 80 last week, I believe it was, so where we get them through our escape rooms and do and then half do escape rooms, half do GPS treasure hunts. We also do bespoke experiences as well, so which works around GPS treasure hunt, and we will be including VR too. So we do have VR experience, not up and running, but we will be doing it, and also our escape room. So it's for corporate, to be honest, corporate is our biggest client because they love to compete, and we have the facility to do it, and also we can accommodate like 100 plus. So Yeah, so anyone corporate listening, do come and book with us.
Brilliant. Wonderful. Sounds very, very exciting. It would be great. We'll have to come down and try it out. So that's
amazing. You'll have to get your team and compete.
Absolutely. That sounds like lots of fun.
Yeah.
Well, wonderful. And obviously it's as you say, relatively new, but so in this respect. So wish you absolute best of luck.
Thank you.
But if maybe you could tell us a little bit about your background and how you got into business and why this particular one.
So I was a sports development officer. I was working in partnership with schools. For me, I always wanted to work for myself and just explore. I did go to China for a year and I was teaching out there. Right. And the escape room model was becoming quite popular out there. And then when I came back I had to come back to the UK for medical reasons. Otherwise, I would have probably stayed a little bit longer and explored. And then whilst I was out there, I were looking at business opportunities, things that I could bring back to the UK and set up. And the escape room market, I love puzzles. The whole concept really made me go, this is something I would love to do. And at the time, there was one company in the UK. So for me, it was like, there's nothing like this in the North, especially Leeds at the time. It's always been known as a student city. So there wasn't much entertainment. Actually, there was no entertainment at all. It was all bars and going out drinking for students. So I thought, let's try it as a pilot. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. So I tried it out. It was difficult because people didn't know the concept. So it was trying to break them barriers of it's not about you solving puzzles by yourself. It's about working as a team. And one thing that we did do, we didn't want to add any electronics, and working in partnership with the school. I always found the reasoning quite interesting, how children would do their reasoning. So the whole concept was, let's do a room where there's no technology, so we can get them away from technology, bring them in a room and solve puzzles, and it's more reasoning and problem solving. So that's where it all came about from. So everything was non-tech. You had to communicate, work as a team. And I think after a year, because we never did any, just to add, Chris, we never did marketing. So that all came through word of mouth. So till this day, I would say that majority of our customers have come through in word of mouth rather than us doing heavy marketing. We never really needed to because we were fully booked. Yep. So it was a win-win, really. It was the best position we could really be in. And obviously now escape rooms are big, there's a lot more competition. And that's where we've done the library now, just to differentiate ourselves from what we currently did. So exciting.
Oh, fantastic. And so when you were growing up, was this the sort of thing you always envisaged doing, or did you have another path planned?
So growing up, I am the type of person, I love to be immersed in things, and nothing really excited me. I always found things really boring, and the only one thing that did excite me was Disney, because they were just so in your face, really, and just so immersive. Yep. And that's one thing that when I went to Disney, I was like, oh wow, it was just amazing. And I always felt, I went to Paris, and Paris was great, but I didn't find it on that level of what Florida does it. So, but whilst I was a student, I did get the opportunity to work for Disney. It was a summer program, a college program that they did. And it wasn't me who actually went for the interview, it was a friend, and she dragged me along. And throughout the presentation, I was like, this is great. I was like, okay, so they were interviewing in pairs. So I just went for the interview, and I got a reply saying that I'd been for the second interview. So I went for that, and I was like, okay, I'm going to Disney in the summer. So I went to do the college program, and I absolutely loved it. And just obviously being out there for the whole summer, it was just so immersive, and there was nothing really. And I think that's where the escape room model, and I loved puzzles, and it was like, how can we do something that obviously immerses people? So not necessarily, obviously when we first started, there wasn't that immersion of you go into a room and the beautiful sets. No, it was literally an office block with a few props, and it was, for us also, it was also about challenging puzzles, so people really get engaged. And I think our first ever in Blueprint, that really did that for us, because people would come out they'd go in going, oh, is this it? And then by the end of it, they'd come out racing and going, oh my God, that was amazing. And it wasn't what they were expecting.
Yeah.
So I think going back to that, yes, I did. But I've always kind of had that thought process of, why isn't there more things like that? Especially in the UK, there wasn't. And I'd be like, why doesn't anyone do that? And I think now with escape rooms and the time that we open it, we knew that you will have to add that immersion. They do need to be beautiful, like movie sets. So our first gen was very simple. Second gen, again, we didn't add as much technology, but we made our rooms like a movie set. And then each, obviously, room that we made, it improved from our learning and how we could make people feel that hero in a story. That's what it was about for us. And I feel like and obviously we got amazing reviews, and people's always talking about us. It's interesting because wherever I went, or like, for example, I had a friend, or she'd go somewhere, she goes, oh, someone was talking about TikTok. And I was like, that's amazing. So it'd always come back. And like I said, it wasn't through marketing, it was through just how we did the puzzles. And so I think that's where that childhood immersion I didn't really get, but I feel like I've put that passion into my own escape rooms now to give that people that immersion. And I think when we also did our VR experience, we were the first ones in the UK to do a hyper reality experience. So it was a multiplayer VR experience with immersive theatre, which was done in the Trinity Centre in 2017. God, it's been so long. I've forgotten what you were in. But so again, we made that, and at that point we thought, how is the world going to evolve and how are things going to change? And for it's like, okay, VR's immersive, we need to add the immersive theatre, beautiful sets. And from then onwards, whatever we do, we always think about how our customers would feel. So we don't ever see it as, this is a business and we're out there or we're making money. No, it's about how can we make an individual feel special, but also be a memorable experience. So that's where it's all come from.
Sounds very exciting, I have to say. That sounds wonderful. I'm sure anyone listening to this is going to have to come and check you guys out and come
Hopefully.
and try.
Come to us.
Please, absolutely. No, it sounds absolutely brilliant. So obviously we've had some challenging times recently, but over the whole sort of business growth, what would you say are some of the biggest issues you've had to overcome?
Financially, funding. I don't think there's much funding out there for the entertainment business. And especially, I know at the time when we did our VR, it was a pilot to see whether the concept would kick off, and just finding funding, because it was really difficult. And even now, just the whole funding process, it's very difficult. It's not just a quick process. You have to go through so many challenges. I think, the financial, because I did get selected to go to Boston, part of Innovate UK, as one of the 7 entrepreneurs. It was the first year they did it. And what we found going to the US, that there's a lot of funding for, obviously, VR at the time, but Innovate UK did say we're like kind of 2 years behind in what you guys are doing. But it was quite deflating, because we did this new concept, and it would have been nice to have some guidance through funding and through the tech. I know now with the tech side, it's great because there is a lot of funding, but at the time there wasn't. And also when we did do what we were doing, breaking people's perceptions and breaking those barriers of what we are actually doing, and it's not just for gamers. It is amazing for families, because you have that family bond. So I think just generally being a new concept, it's hard enough trying to tell people what you're doing without actually giving too much away.
I mean, it's really interesting that you said that you know, you're a new concept. These this is very innovative, and yet all your business come from word of mouth, which obviously must have operated really quickly. You must have had a real sort of exponential growth curve of people talking about what you do so quickly to have filled your room so quickly.
Absolutely, because we started off with one room, and within 6 months, we started thinking about our next what we'll be doing next. And within a year, we opened in Manchester, Liverpool, Glasgow, and then I think within 2 years, we had 3 locations, including our VR in Leeds. So we had 6 sites altogether. And the interesting thing was, when we had a colleague that we sent over to our Glasgow branch, and they were from the Leeds branch. When they had a group who had actually travelled from Leeds, Glasgow, and he was their host in Leeds, and he was like, I saw you, and they were like, yeah. So we had people traveling to our venues, different venues, to try obviously different games out, which was great. And I think because it was so secretive to people, like they liked that fact, because we were in a listed building, first of all, so we weren't really allowed to advertise outside. So that was a challenge in itself, and because we was on the 4th floor, it was a little bit more challenging to do anything. So. And I think because people loved it so much, they would tell each other, and then you'd have colleagues who would come and bring their families, vice versa. So yeah, it worked quite well, to be honest. But I think I think there's a lot of entertainment now, and you do have to get out there if you want to tell people about it. So yeah. Yeah,
absolutely. I don't think that's true. But that's a great track record. We've done all that with word of mouth. Yeah, absolutely wonderful. So what would you say the biggest learnings you've had in business?
Take risks. Take risks. I think I'm a little bit more like risk averse, and so is my partner, and everything we thought about, we'd be like, should we not? And I wish now that I had taken more risks. I had been a little bit more out there with the networking, finding out what help there was out there. I think there's a lot of elements I wish now that I had reached out at the early stages to maybe run a franchise. And when I set this up, because it was so new, I think I was extremely precious. I was extremely precious about it's a new concept, it's like my baby, it's this, and even like if something negative happened, and obviously you do have people go away and do like have their own thought process and do reviews, and it was certain things. We did have battles with fake reviews. We did have that, which, to be honest, people don't realize at the end there is people behind these companies and who have put everything into it. And when you have people kind of trying to do things to jeopardize what you're doing, it's really hurtful, and you just think this is also your livelihood. For me, I gave up my job to set this up. So I think having, when you're having people trying to do that, or if people didn't enjoy it, for me, it's like, reach out to us, tell us why, because feedback's always really important to us. But when someone goes ahead and kind of starts saying all these things, and you're like, I don't, and I think at the time when I started, it was only me. So when people are like, when you do get a negative thing and you think, I didn't really see that, but reach out to us, talk to us. That's what we're about. We're there to kind of, Jimmy, if you didn't enjoy the experience, I will offer you, Jimmy, a refund, because at the end of the day, my whole purpose is for people to enjoy the experience. So it's more, so I think risks, I wish I'd taken a little bit more rather than being too precious, and I should have seen it as a business rather than this is like my little baby kind of thing. Yes. So, but you learn, you grow from it, you learn, and you know what to do. So, yeah.
I think the key thing is we learn from it. It's, you know, I think it's Nelson Mandela said, he said, I never lose, I either win or learn.
Yeah.
And I think that's the key thing is we take the learnings from it, then there isn't, you know, and the other thing, Sam, is there really is no right or wrong way to run or grow a business.
There isn't.
It all depends on the individual. So, yeah.
It does, and I think also, I think the key thing is, and for us that's really worked, is our team. I like our team from the start. Since we've opened, obviously we have had people leave and people have left, and the reason they've left, because sometimes a job can also get it's when you're doing the same thing day in and day out, it does get a bit repetitive. And when people have left, I've always like spoke to them, and within myself, I always know that it's the right decision they make when they do leave, because either you don't want to be stuck in a job and feel like you're not enjoying it. And for us, all our stuff, like we have especially 2 members of the team who have grown with us. They're still with us. We've been open for the last 8 years, and they love what we do. They love TikTok, a brand they've bought into us. But being there for your team is so important as well, because everyone that we have, we kind of do see them as a family. So and the business hasn't worked just because of me, it's been because of my team and what they've provided. And I think the way we treat Jimmy, and it's like how I would like to be treated, I would treat them. So I think all credit goes to the team as well. So I can't take credit for my business for where it is today. It's because of them too. So yeah.
Well, that's very magnanimous, although I would suggest that a great team normally has a great leader. So we'll
thank you.
Well,
I'll take that compliment.
Absolutely. No, it's really important. Yeah, it's you know, a good leader. A team isn't a great team without a great leader in general. So well done for that. So you're probably aware we're a business coaching organisation. I'm keen to know who the best coach or coaches you've worked with have been, whether that's business or sport or life in general.
To be honest, I wouldn't really say I've had a business coach for the business. I think I've had to just kind of throw myself in and figure things out myself. But just generally in life, I think there's 2 kind of crucial people that I would mention. One is my sister. She's always been a role model to me. She's always pushed them boundaries. She was the first Asian a woman, should I say, to play for England for rugby league, and she faced a lot, and because we're going back about 10 years or maybe a little bit longer. So she faced a lot of kind of racial discrimination throughout, because obviously being it wasn't multicultural sport, so I think it's been a difficult ride for her, not only because of the rugby, it's of where she got to with England. I think just as a cultural thing too, seeing her wanting to go to her rugby classes and play with her teams, and we had, obviously being from Pakistani background, being cultural, you do have your community. So it was like sometimes she would kind of hide to go to a training, or what she would wear. It was like Jimmy. So I think there was a lot of, but she wouldn't let anyone stop her. And she always had that. She was very level-headed and be like, no, I'm going to go. This is my passion. This is what I love. Whether it had to be on a Sunday to go and play a match and she had to kind of quickly sneak out, she would do it. So I think and she's very strong-willed and very outspoken, and I think having her around me really helped. And also I am one of 3, and there is like 8 years difference between us, so I had her as a mother figure, which was quite nice. And I think anything I wanted to, she'd be like, no, you can do it. And so she was very positive and very encouraging that way. And I think second person probably would be my husband. I think from the moment I set up the business, he did come on board to do the VR element, but he's from a banking background and trading background. So for him, he's very calm and very level-headed and risk-averse about things, and just to guide me what was right. Until this day, I still give credit to him. He does. He's still there now. Like, if anything, like, oh, okay, just think about this. Make sure you're doing this. Make sure. So he's always there guiding me. So I think he's been a great coach that way. Where he's obviously been in that big corporate world, so for him to get that guidance has been great. So yeah, I think they're the 2 people that I would say.
Wonderful, great, both clearly very inspiring people, which is wonderful. And have you picked up, or do you use any favourite quotes or sayings as you, in general, as in either good times or challenging times?
Yeah, a bit like, I think it's just with anything in life, wherever you are, it's like, do you mean treat people like the way you would like to be treated?
Yes.
So whether it's in business, whether it's in life, even with my own children, do you mean when they're arguing or they do something, I'll be like, no, would you be like that? So I think that's, for me, that's a great way of whatever I've done, yeah, it would be that.
And it's great for, I mean, especially for in a customer service environment, as you rightly say, how would I want to be treated if I was to come to?
Yeah, exactly. And at the end of the day, you're not going to get that respect if you don't give others respect. So it's the key
Absolutely.
thing. And I think that's also come from a very cultural background for us as well, of we've respecting the elders, whether they're elders or whether they're youngest, you always respect them and you give them that. So I think that's kind of embedded in us, or especially in me, and just within my family, it's always been, that's how you have to be, and you don't do that. So that's always stuck with me in whatever I do.
Absolutely brilliant. And what would you say you've learned about yourself through your journey?
What have I learned about myself? I like to push boundaries. I like to, I think I'm a risk taker. I wish, like I said, I wish I'd taken more risks at the time, but I think, like going back to about who has been your coach, I think having my husband there to kind of reel me back in has helped. But I think if I didn't have that coaching from him and him, I would probably be like, yeah, trying everything and doing anything. So yeah, I think I do like to take risks, but I do have that husband thing. No, don't. This could go wrong, but think about this. So, and I think that's why it balances it out, because he kind of guides me to not to do that. But at certain points, I kind of wish I did do it, and I regret it. But it's life, isn't it? So
absolutely brilliant, absolutely brilliant. And so sort of starting to look forward. What does the future look like for you and your business, and what do you see as the main challenges, if any, as you move forward?
So we acquired the venue which we have in Leeds City Centre. It's a big venue. So within the next 2 years, we are looking to grow our genres with the immersive theatre, do the horror. So that will be growing. At the moment, it's stage one. So it's phase one. So a lot of people kind of come in thinking, oh, but hey, we're a small business, we're trying our best, we've not got £1 million thrown at us, it is all self-funded. So so yeah, we are trying our best on that element. I think franchising, creating more immersive experiences, and yeah, just trying to tell people what we're doing, and always trying to differentiate ourselves than just saying we are an escape room. I think the most difficult thing now the hype of escape room is so big, is that when you're bringing out another concept, where we're still having to say it's like escape rooms but with other elements, but it's hard to break that kind of perception of people. And we have had people who've come who thought that it's a traditional escape room, and they're like, oh, and when they're going, they're like, oh, we thought it was going to be like a traditional escape. So I think it's breaking that you don't, people are changing, they want to try something different, and we are doing that. So and getting people kind of accept that it is a change, and I think that is the biggest challenge. I
can imagine there's value in being similar, because the people sort of get a better idea, but it's also challenging being different, because we want to show people that it's a new concept, isn't it? Clearly,
it is. And the thing is, it's not come out of thin air. The concept has come from, why we've changed it is because we've observed our customers and we've got customer feedback. And the frustrating part in escape rooms was when people didn't get out, they were really deflated.
Yes.
And you shouldn't go to an experience and feel deflated about something, or the pressure of time, and it's where people completely have this block of, because they're racing against time. So the learning there was, what can we do where they don't feel deflated? And also, when you're in a room for 60 minutes, you might have gone with like a group of 6, but 3 of them would just stand around and do nothing whilst the others are really into it. So it was like, and 60 minutes is a long time, which also meant people would destroy things. So in the room. So we were like, what can we do that everyone's engaged at all the time? So we've made our room sizes smaller with smaller groups and where everyone's engaged. And we've also made it where it's, rather than being in one room for 60 minutes, you're going into multiple rooms, which are completely contrasting rooms, and with immersive theatre. So it's a host-led. And so this way, they don't really have time to think about what they're doing. They're constantly busy. So that it's all come from the customers. So it's not just us thinking, this is a great idea. No, it's come from customer feedback.
Sounds very, very interesting. I would say that it's definitely something that I'd like to participate in. So we will
definitely get you over, Chris, with your team.
No, I really would like to. It sounds really fascinating. It reminds me of it's very, very different concept, but I was always taken. I always was very impressed. We went to the old Tetley Brewery. They had an experience where you went through the sort of brewing trip, and it was taking you through time of the brewery starting with, I think, with the monks, and then I think so the monks, the Middle Ages, the and sort of Edwardian period, and they had it was interactive in that in a certain way, and it obviously totally very different to what you do. But I always remember being very engaged by it. Really, it's something I remember really very well. So I can imagine how that would be, really interesting thing to do alongside the fun aspect of solving problems and those sorts of things. So it sounds amazing.
And the key thing is it's a memory. So you remember the brewery.
Yes.
So that's become a memory for you. And one thing I've always said to my team, that the experience from start to finish should be amazing for a customer, because it's not your experience, it's their experience, and it's what they're going to walk away with. Like the youngest in our escape room, we had a 7-year-old, and the oldest we had a 91-year-old, and this was actually in one group, which so it had different generations. And when they walked, they came for the 91-year-old's birthday, and it was amazing because like the youngest, this was so good. And like the lady whose birthday was, she was like, I wouldn't do anything with my family like this. And she was like, it kept us all together. But that was a memory for them. And till this day, we've opened our new venue, and the team have told me when I'm not there that someone actually asked about you, because at very early stages, it was me running it for the 6 months, me doing everything, being the face of TikTok. So I think just having that memory, and then even people are remembering you, and you're like, oh wow, okay, that was 8 years ago. Crazy. People still. So it's an experience, and I think it's like said, that having that memory is so important. And clearly the brewery left you with a good memory.
it really did. It really did. We didn't just go for the beer, but just remember it was just really interesting and fascinating, and just engaged us in a different way than just sort of being, because there were interactive actors there asking us questions, telling us things. And I just remember it being very interesting and a different than just that's being shown around something or pointing at those things. So no, I can certainly see how that would make a difference. I believe you may be interested in some inbound investment if anyone listening was interested in becoming an investor.
Absolutely. So I think at the moment we are fully funded for our first one, and that is something that we funded ourselves, but we are looking to expand and grow, and to have like a consistent experience to franchise. So if anyone is looking to invest and help us grow, whether throughout the UK, national or internationally, we'd be happy to speak to anyone regarding that. It's a great concept, it is different, and I think people are wanting more of these experiences, especially after the pandemic, as a lot of people have had a bit of a rocky ride and just being stuck inside. What we found as soon as, like, I know just not us, when the pandemic was over, not over, when everyone started opening their doors, we were constantly getting calls saying that we want to book in, but unfortunately we had closed our sites to open this bigger site. So we know there's a huge demand there. So yes, so if anyone is looking to invest in a quirky, fun business and obviously work with me, then we are here.
So just a few sort of simple questions as we sort of wrap up a little bit, Sam. But what would you say to anyone that was thinking of going into business right now?
Do it. Do it. Don't think about it. Do it. Because it's amazing the reward that you get from having your own business. And once you set something up, because you know you've put that effort, time, and also money into it, you are so much more eager to get to where you want to. And I don't think you should think twice. And looking back at when I set TikTok up, and like I said, my sister's been my role model. And when I said to her, I'm going to do this, she said to me, no, don't. And we've not, again, I think it's that cultural thing within us that, no, you've got your job, it's secure. Why would you, what if it doesn't work and you've lost your job? And me being stubborn and the way I am, I was like, no, I'm going to do it. This is what I want to do. And it makes you put that self achievement and the time and effort that you put in, it's just so worth it. It's and I know at the moment, like with TikTok and social media, there's a lot of people who are starting very small. Go big, think big. And it's Jimmy, you will get the reward and recognition, and you just need to be passionate about it. So yeah.
What a great answer. Love it.
Yeah.
I absolutely love it. I'm not sure where the risk, I think at the start you said you were a bit risk averse, but I'm not sure where that's come from. I'm not so sure about that, to be perfectly honest.
Yeah. I think I was more so when I started it, just because of my family, and because they would always worry, what if it doesn't, you're putting all this money into it, and I think it's a big thing when you do have an income coming in, and then when your income stops and you think, okay, I need to make this work. If I don't, then I'm going to fail, and then I don't have a job, and you go back to, what if I lose all the money that I put into it? So it's a really, really scary thought. And if you're like young, especially for some, do you know what, even if you're young, at least you think, okay, I've tried it, I've done it. But if you've got a family and you've got people either depending on you, I think that is, it's an awful feeling of, if it doesn't work, I've lost everything and I've got to go back to scratch. And plus then, so I think it's just weighing it out where you are in life and how you approach it.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
No, but a great response. I think you're just a bit. I think you're bang on. And if you started again, is there anything that you do differently?
Yes, I would take over the world. Actually, I would say no. Yes and no. So my no would be because I wouldn't have learned, and I wouldn't have overcome the hurdles that I've had to make me stronger and to be more level-headed of where I need to go with things. Because if I had everything smooth sailing, you'd never learn then. So and even till this day with our new, obviously we've got our operations manager in Leeds, and when we were designing this new concept, doing it, she was panicking about the operations. And I said to her, don't. I said, once we've got everything in place, it's going to happen then. I said, because there's no point worrying about things that aren't going to happen. I said, the time that you really need to worry, when we open and you're seeing things and what doesn't go right, we need to fix them. And that's the time you have to worry. So, and I said, mistakes are good. Mistakes are amazing, because if you don't have a mistake, you're not going to learn. But then on the other hand, yes, because I wish now that I had, we had a lot of people approach us from the UAE, from all over the world, for our VR, for TikTok. And I think because I was trying to figure it out myself to make it perfect, and there's no such thing as being perfect. And because I was so focused on that, I lost out on a lot of opportunities. And I wish that I had kind of taken the risk and said, just go with the flow. Somebody wants a franchise, someone wants to do it. do it. And I think, again, the franchising model always worried me because I was so precious on how my experience should be. And there's only one of me.
Yeah.
And how can I get everyone to do the same? That kind of, I think that mentality of mine maybe set me back a little bit, where I should have gone, no, just go for it, get the brand out there, and whoever wants to, I should have done it, I could have made it big, but I lost that opportunity to do it because we were the second in the UK, so I could have done that, and within a year we did have 6 sites. So but I think I was trying to stretch myself too far, and I wish I had maybe brought people on board to help me, guide me, and a coach to have that. So so there's a no and a yes for that one.
Yeah, great. No, all makes sense. All makes a lot of sense, actually.
Yeah.
And finally, what would be the best advice you could give to an 18-year-old you if you're able to go back in time and do so?
Go and explore the world. Yeah, don't set up a business. You can set up a business if you want, and you can make your money, and you can do that. But I think one thing I regret, because I always thought, I'm a bit of a traveler. I love traveling. I love going, exploring, and the best education you can get is by traveling and seeing things and business opportunities. It's endless when you travel because you see things differently. And I think even I think one thing, even from my children right now, as they grow up, I know it was for our family and for also just as a culture, it's always been about education. Get your education, then you have to get a job. And it's like, no, because you don't learn. Like, the thing is, education, our education system is very much, do you mean you follow this system? This is what you need to do to pass. You don't have hands-on, you don't kind of experience anything. It's just all about what you can retain in your brain and then write it out on a piece of paper. So again, I have this conversation all the time with friends and even my colleagues. I say, at that age, people go to university and they get pushed, oh, you need to go to university. And the more I think about it, I actually say, don't, because you go to university and a lot of people do their degrees and I don't think I actually know anyone who's followed what they've done in their degree and then they've gone, oh no, I want to do something else, because you don't have a gap to think about what you really want to do. So if you're 18 and even thinking about higher education, I would say take a year out to know what you really, really want to do before you do it. And I think traveling is the best thing because you get an understanding of the world and what you want to do in life with that. So that's what I would say. And I wish I had done it. And I think moving forward, my children, that's something that I will say, take a break, think about what you want to do, then go and do it, because then you're fully committed and you really want to do it and you're passionate about it. And you can't do, if you're not passionate about something, you will always lose that hope of doing something to the full benefit. So, yeah.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Very sound advice. Advice I'd support too.
I bet I'm going to get parents saying, don't give that advice to our children.
I'm a big advocate of it. So myself, I love to travel, and I think it's the best. Yeah, it's the best education you can get. About yourself, really. Things like self-reliance, things about confidence.
You learn about yourself, you learn what you want to do, you're more level-headed because then you're not independent on anyone, and again, you might go to countries where you experience a lot just generally about yourself, or you might go and do some charity work. And I think I feel like for me, it was always like, I'll do it after I've done my education, I'll do it then. But then you get married, you commit to a mortgage, it's not the same, is it? Then it becomes a holiday. It doesn't become much of a exploring, because especially when you have children, you don't, you can't.
I guess that's true. I guess maybe there's always a time. I mean, there's always a time. In fact, I remember when we were traveling a long time ago that it wasn't uncommon to find families traveling for a fair period. But as you rightly say, it does get more complicated.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Like, to be honest, like we've said, I've got 2 very young children who just started school and one's in nursery. So when you're traveling with them, but as they get older, I always even I say about schools when they have this whole thing about, oh, you can't take your children on holiday, or you can't, but it's like, but why can't we have that opportunity? Why don't school or the government give that opportunity? Because if they're going on holiday, it's an education, because they're learning about a different culture. They're learning about gymming, how they live. So it's not all about poolside for some people. It is about going to the museums, seeing that. So that's definitely, once they're at a stage of where they can do a lot, we will be doing, because we do feel like we missed out on the traveling ourselves. But as they grow older, we'll do it as a family. So that'd be nice.
Wonderful. Oh, well, I'm sure you have a great time.
Yeah.
And so thank you so much. That's been really interesting, really inspiring as well. And we wish you absolute best of luck with all the new ventures and adventures that you're planning. And if anyone would like to get in touch with you, or how do they find you to book in on one of your experiences?
So you could go onto our website, which is www.tiktockunlock.com, and or I know some people don't kind of like going through websites. If they wanted to even just give us a call, pick up the phone, and make a booking. But we're always on hand, so we try to make our experience as easy as possible for our customers, whether they need to speak to someone, and for us to get them booked in, or you could do it on our website. They're there. So yeah, and we do have a Halloween experience coming up in our bank vaults. So it's going to be a 2-week experience. So if you do like the horror and like to be spooked out, that is coming up. So we did do a horror experience in 2019 in the Queen's Hotel in their basement. So we actually use the whole basement, the rooftop. So it's an immersive theatre show. So it's the second part of the Queen's experience. So yeah, keep an eye out on.
That's very exciting. And again, thank you so much.
You're welcome.